While many video games rely on the player's ability to time their button presses just right, seeing them attacking and parrying in a mesmerizing dance of combat, none take the concept quite so literally as the rhythm action genre. Now this is understandable, as these games heavily rely on keeping time alongside the beat of the music in order to control the action, and it's no surprise these titles have taken off since their inception, especially amongst those who are musically inclined. Some of these titles can be rather odd, though, whether that's thanks to unconventional genre mashups or an utterly bizarre story, and we're here to take a look at a handful of them today. Before we get started though, let's clear something up. Just because we think a game on this list is strange, it doesn't necessarily mean we think it's bad. There are certainly some of those here, but there are just as many that take weird concepts and execute them surprisingly well. Okay, now we've cleared that up, let's carry on. I'm Peter from TripleJump, and here are the 10 strangest rhythm action games of all time. Number 10. Persona 3 Dancing in Moonlight. The Persona series is an incredibly popular spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei franchise, but that hasn't stopped it from getting several spin-offs of its own. These include such games as Persona 4 Arena and Persona 5 Strikers, but perhaps the strangest is the series of dancing games, and in particular Persona 3 Dancing in Moonlight. There are actually 3 of these high-tempo titles, with Persona 4 and 5 getting their own versions of the concept as well. In Persona 3 Dancing in Moonlight, the cast of the base game meet up with Velvet Room attendant Elizabeth, who's temporarily turned the place into Club Velvet in order to have others compete against her sisters in a dance-off, with her acting as producer. What makes this iteration of these spin-off games particularly strange in our mind is just how at odds it is with the original Persona 3. While Persona 4 and Persona 5 do have more of a flair of silliness about them in comparison, Persona 3 came out in that time when it seemed all games felt like they had to be edgier, something that's apparent right from the opening cutscene. It is nice to see the crew enjoying themselves a bit, but there's no denying it's a strange concept. Number 9. Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure. What do you think of when you hear the words stealth and espionage? Is it loud music? I bet it isn't. And yet Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure seems to insist that they go hand in hand, no matter how at odds they may seem. This 3DS title blends puzzles, interrogation, and rhythm action, and follows a plot that's almost as strange as that mashup of genres. The game opens on the revelation that Napoleon, yes, that one, has been stolen from his resting place in Paris and resurrected for reasons unknown. 3 years later, players join 18-year-old Raphael, who moonlights as an art thief named Phantom R, stealing items that have a symbol he associates with his father, who happened to disappear at the same time as Napoleon. Soon he meets a girl named Marie who possesses a violin with the symbol, and the two proceed to investigate together. In between the puzzles and chatting, players will encounter rhythm-related activities, which amongst other things require them to mimic the movement of other dancers, tap the right image in time to the music in order to hide, or fight huge groups of enemies. Between Zombie Napoleon and the strangely placed dance parties, this game has no shortage of weirdness. Number 8. Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix. Mario is undeniably one of the most recognizable mascots ever, both in the world of video games and out. He's shown up in so many titles over the years that it's no surprise he's turned up in some bizarre places. But Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix is one of the strangest of all. Also known as Dancing Stage Mario Mix in Europe, this GameCube exclusive extension of both the popular DDR series and the Mario universe combines the Mushroom Kingdom with a dance mat to surprising effect. The story mode opens with Waluigi attempting to steal the 4 music keys, but he's only able to grab one before the others scatter all around the world, and a passing Toad rushes off to inform Mario, launching him into a musical adventure. The various levels of the game include Mario tunes, of course, but there's also a selection of remixed classical scores to bop along to, all of which can be revisited in either free or minigame mode after the story is completed, so players can dance along to the tracks anytime they like, but now with friends. This all adds up to make the game weird in concept, but a surprisingly fun time for both Mario and dance fans alike. Number 7. Patapon. So far on this list, we've seen entries that take the rhythm action genre and mash it with something you would never expect. Well, our next title is no different, but this time we're taking a turn to the world of strategy games. PSP title Patapon places players in the clouds of a mysterious deity worshipped by the strange eyeball creatures known as Patapons, who can be commanded throughout the game's many missions and will attack, defend, or retreat depending on which of the drum beats the player uses. These commands are used to propel the Patapon tribe towards their final goal of reaching Earth End to gaze upon something they only refer to as it, which the rival Zigaton tribe is trying to prevent because supposedly this event will bring chaos to the land. In between marching towards this goal and fighting the enemies though, players can rest up at the Patapon village, where they can resurrect fallen soldiers and play minigames. Despite the seemingly strange combo of genres, Patapon was incredibly successful, even winning IGN's award for Best PSP Game of 2008 and getting a PS4 remaster in 2017. It certainly marches to the beat of its own drum, but the game is well worth a look, even now. Number 6. Elite Beat Agents. Originally released in 2006 for the DS, the utterly bananas Elite Beat Agents is the internationally released spiritual successor to a Japan-exclusive title, Osu Tatakai Oendan, and combines the over-the-top presentation of manga and anime with Japanese cheer squads. Players take on the role of the titular agents as they survey the town, on the lookout for anyone who's experiencing a crisis. Once the person in distress finally reaches their limit and cries out for help, the squad is sent by their leader, Commander Khan, to do what they can to fix the issue, which more or less boils down to dancing at them in the hopes of boosting morale. When the agents show up, they help the folks at the location with their various problems by performing cheer routines, with players tapping and swiping the DS screen in time to the beat. These problems can range from someone having to watch over a bunch of rowdy children when they'd rather not, to a bankrupt oil baron who's trying to strike it rich once again. With the strong comedic tone and the soundtrack that includes hits from artists ranging from Avril Lavigne to David Bowie, Elite Beat Agents is proof that even the strangest of ideas can make for a truly enjoyable experience. Number 5. Ready, Set, Hi-ya! We've seen rhythm action combined with genres as varied as stealth and strategy already, as well as with the Mario universe, but you know what we haven't seen it combined with yet? A one-on-one brawler. Yes, well, Ready Set Hi-ya is here to prove that literally anything can be set to music to make it that little bit more exciting. This free-to-play fighting game was originally designed with a special controller in mind, which was set up to look like a real kung fu dummy, and the player would have to hit the appropriate place in time to the beat in order to land a virtual hit. However, it seems the original concept was scrapped, and now the game exists as a purely keyboard-based affair. Players can choose from 3 different fighters, the small but powerful Red L, the quick and nimble Geo, and Bobo the Panda, who I think we can all agree is objectively the best option. Over the course of the fight, players will have to pay close attention to the bottom of the screen and hit the appropriate key in time to the beat in order to damage their opponent. While there isn't much content there, even years after release, the game is a lot of fun, and the original concept makes this title truly unique. Number 4. Rock of the Dead. The light gun shooter House of the Dead was once a staple of arcades everywhere, and spawned a surprising number of sequels and spin-offs over the years. Though edutainment tool Typing of the Dead was bizarre enough in itself, the obscure 2010 title Rock of the Dead takes things that one step further. The story follows an unnamed protagonist who happens to be at a cemetery when meteors suddenly start pelting the ground, causing zombies to rise. Thankfully though, his grandfather is there to let him know he can take out the nasty creatures with the guitar he conveniently has on hand. Players can hook up either their guitar or drum peripheral and play the notes that the foes display, and by performing on the beat and collecting blue crystals, they're able to charge up either a shield or a blast to help them as they continue on their journey. Perhaps one of the oddest things about this zombie rock 'em up though is the fact that it has some significant star power behind it, with both Neil Patrick Harris and Felicia Day providing their voices for the main character and his love interest respectively, as well as, appropriately enough, Rob Zombie. It's probably not worth resurrecting this particular game though, as by all accounts, it wasn't very good. Number 3. Toho Spell Bubble. The Toho project, often known as just Toho, is a massive franchise that spans not only games, but also printed media and even CDs. While the series is most well known for its bullet hell installments, it's tried its hand at a few different genres over the years, and Toho Spell Bubble is one such experiment. This particular title is mainly a puzzle game, very similar to Puzzle Bobble in terms of its core gameplay, but twists things a little bit with the addition of a rhythmic restriction. The story mode allows players to follow either Reimu or Marissa, and explores the mysteries of the latter's new magical game, the eponymous Spell Bubble, and the tournament it has inspired. Players are only able to make a match in time to the beat, and occasionally, if they eliminate a large enough group, they will trigger a sequence which allows them to get rid of even more bubbles, as well as slow their opponent down, with a successful run dumping a load of colourless bubbles in the way of the other player. This turns the relative simplicity of Puzzle Bobble into a more challenging experience, and it was a fun little experiment with the format of two very popular franchises. Number 2. Santa Rockstar HD. Most games that revolve around Christmas, or any holiday really, tend to be extremely strange both in principle and in execution, as there's only so much you can really do with any of those ideas. This means that most games can only hope to be loosely related to the holiday at best, and the greatest ones are only set at Christmas time, not themed around it. Developers continue to take on the monumental challenge of bringing the joy of the season to the game world though, and one such attempt, Santa Rockstar HD, is perhaps the strangest one yet. One of many titles inspired primarily by Guitar Hero, this festive jam session is not strange due to its gameplay, but the soundtrack itself. All of your favourite holiday themes are here to play, ranging from the timeless classic Jingle Bells all the way to the properly classical Rondo alla Turca, but their inclusion in general is not the strange part. What really makes this game stand out is implied by the Rockstar part of the game's name, meaning these aren't your grandparents' Christmas songs, no, each track has been reimagined as a rock or metal tune instead. Now I'm always up for a good round of Jingle Bell rock, but Santa Rockstar HD takes it a little too far, even for me. And number 1, Unison, Rebels of Rhythm and Dance. We've seen a lot now on our journey through the strange world of rhythm games, but none in our mind is as quirky as Unison, Rebels of Rhythm and Dance. Once again, it's not so much the gameplay that makes this girl group-inspired PS2 title an odd game, even though unlike many others of the genre, it does expect players to actually memorize the moves of their performance. No, instead it's the story that's been shoehorned in that truly elevates this title above and beyond the others. In the futuristic world of twin ships, a dictator known as Emperor Ducker has taken over and is now using his hypnotic influence to force people to only enjoy things he approves of, outlawing any sort of creative expression, with dancing in particular being frowned upon. In order to combat this, players take control of one of 3 young girls named Trill, Sella, and Chili, and guide them through dance routines under the watchful eye of the extremely disco-branded Dr. Dance, who wants to use their moves and the power of music to sway the public in their favor and have them turn their backs on the Emperor. It has to be said, the game's bonkers premise but incredible soundtrack make it a standout in the genre for all the strangest but perhaps best reasons.